In this lecture, you'll learn what to prepare for before meeting with your customer. Prior to your customer's arrival, there are a few preparatory things to take care of first. You want to be prepared for what may transpire to ensure things run smoothly when you meet with them. Although your meeting place may be different than mine, many of these concepts hold true. Because of my rural location, I usually only meet at my home, so that is the frame of reference for this discussion. So depending on where you meet and what kind of item you're selling, you may need to demo or show how it works. If selling a radio or some other electrical or electronic device, for example, consider being near a power source if possible. And most people don't feel comfortable buying these types of things unless they can see it working first. If you're going to be showing the item inside, you may need a clean, clutter-free spot to place or present your item. And make sure you have a spot with plenty of light too, and that'll make inspecting easier. And I've also found it's always a good idea to rehearse how all the features work in case you're asked to show and demonstrate them. Now, in preparation for potential price haggling, you should have a pretty good idea of competitive prices for comparable items. This will give you some leverage when negotiating a price. You should already have this information as part of formulating your price during your research and ad creation phase, but if not, you can do a little more research online. You may want to have some small bills on hand too, in case you have to make change. If something is difficult or confusing to put together or hook up, you may consider providing some guidance or brief instruction if necessary. Of course, you can always reference an online document and point the customer to that as well. Likewise, if your product is large, you may need to take it apart to either get it out of the house or fit it in the buyer's vehicle. Spend a little time familiarizing yourself with how it comes apart so you'll be ready if the customer ends up buying it. Now, this can save a lot of fumbling and guessing. A bill of sale is a nice thing to provide too to your customer. Many people really appreciate having one, and it gives you both proof of the transaction. If you end up making a sale, ask if they'd like one. If so, make sure to print 2 copies so each of you can sign them. I've provided a sample bill of sale in the supplemental materials section of this lecture, so you can use or modify it as you like. And you may also want to consider having a box or a bag or something to carry the product in. Customers often really appreciate this, especially if there are a lot of separate pieces or if the weather is bad. I also wanted to mention that if your product is heavy or difficult to move, then you might want to show it where it is, where it sits in your house, instead of moving it around first. Now, this will save you unnecessary work in the event that the customer isn't interested, or, heaven forbid, never shows up. It's a royal pain in the neck to move stuff around, only to move it back again. So speaking of heavy objects, if you happen to have a dolly, you want to make sure it's easily accessible for moving large or heavy objects, like appliances. Make sure to have some tools on hand too, in case you need to disassemble something. Now, this is more likely to be necessary when selling big items like furniture or appliances, and may be required when fitting through doorways or into vehicles too. And the last thing is to consider having some extra ropes or other means to tie the object down in the customer's vehicle. Now, they may already have straps, but you never know when it might be useful to provide a little extra security, especially for long trips. If the item protrudes past the end of the vehicle, and make sure to attach a red or orange flag or piece of cloth to the end. Even a piece of plastic bag works. Now, this is a common courtesy and provides a level of safety for other drivers who end up behind the customer's vehicle.